about 2 weeks ago I got my hair cut, and I've been trying to get more regular haircuts now that my hair is growing out, and I want it to look nice as it's growing out. I don't want to just have this strange frumpy hair that, you know, doesn't really have any shape. Until I get my really long hair that's just a bit silly, I might as well enjoy the hair as it is in its current length. So I need to get regular haircuts, and especially since the back of my hair, it starts to do this kind of curved, heavier look where it's just, I don't know, like dragging the rest of my hair back. It's kind of going towards a mullet, but it's not really a mullet. But yeah, it just looks kind of odd, and it starts to do weird flicks, and it's better when it's just cut straight across, so that way it can grow out really nicely while I'm waiting for this front bit just to grow and meet the rest of my hair. But when I got my hair cut, the hairdresser cut my hair too short. I asked her just to make it straight, just to do a trim, but everyone knows that sometimes hairdressers just, I don't know, get carried away. I told her multiple times, but I also don't like to keep nagging people, especially professionals when they're in their role. I'm like, you know, just stop nagging them. They know what they're doing. You don't need to tell them, you know, 50 times. So I told her a couple of times, said it a couple more times, but then I just left it. But then she cut my hair back to the hairline. And so my hair was a bit longer than this, but she kind of cut it right back up, so it wasn't a huge difference. But when you're trying to grow your hair out, that's massive. So I was quite upset, but I was trying to justify it to myself that it doesn't really matter, because as I'm waiting for this bit to grow out, when she cut it, it kind of made that distance shorter. Now this part of my hair is nearly at the same length as the rest of my hair, so as it's growing out, I'm liking the way that my fringe part is sitting. It's just sitting in a nicer way. And so that's nice. And I like the way that my hair sits now than it did at this length before, because of the way that this part was growing out at that time. But even so, I just wanted my hair long. Like, I just didn't want to wait this extra, I don't know how many extra weeks it's going to take for it to get to that old length. And you know, try not to focus on it, but I found that really hard to deal with while sitting in that seat, seeing that my hair was so much shorter. And while I didn't cry, I could feel my eye starting to burn with just that bit of emotion, just getting a bit too upset about it. And this had happened before, when I had just finally got my hair just at a really short bob a couple of months ago, and I got my hair cut trying to make it look nice. And that was the very first time I went to a hairdresser since cancer and chemotherapy and everything. And so when I went to the hairdresser, they, you know, cut it into a nice shape and they gave it some color. But when they were doing that, they hadn't done exactly what I wanted them to do. The way that they did the coloring wasn't exactly what I wanted. And although the cut was fine, when she was finishing me up, she was styling my hair, and the way that she was styling my hair was by putting a lot of volume in the top of the hair rather than the bottom. And I prefer the look of the bottom of my hair kind of coming out and having more volume than the top of my hair. That's just not a style that I've ever been a fan of. And while sitting in the seat, I couldn't help but just feel like she just didn't understand me. She wasn't understanding what I was trying to get with my hair. And also, I couldn't help but feel like I was being made to look older. And not that there's anything obviously wrong with being older, but it was more that I just didn't feel like myself, and I felt like somehow my hair was representing all these years that I had lost, that somehow I'd missed out on this youthful time to have fun, youthful hair. I was somehow being put into this category of having like older hair, not very exciting, young, cool hair. And it was just this weird moment that I had, and I could feel my eyes burning again. And while I didn't cry, I could just feel the emotion getting to me, and it really bothered me, because I was just like, why are you getting so upset? That's just so silly. It's just hair. Like, you know, don't worry about it. It grows. She hasn't cut it poorly. She's just styled it kind of funny. So when you get home, you can wash it and it'll be fine. Like, the color, while it wasn't exactly what I wanted, it doesn't look strange. It looks, you know, normal. It more or less was my exact same hair color, but just with a slight change. So it wasn't like there was some major drastic change that I was going to be really upset about, where they had made a big color change or really chopped a lot of my hair off. But still, I couldn't help but get really emotional around it. And I think that's part of the reason why I held back from going to the hairdresser while my hair was growing out, especially when it was really short. Even though I'm sure I could have had my hair look nicer and be a bit more styled while it was growing out. I really didn't want anyone else to touch it except like a family member, just to clean it up as it was growing out, because I was just so worried that the hairdresser would not understand what I was trying to say and would end up cutting it too short. And I've had friends who've been trying to grow out their hair, they've had quite short hair, and when they've been going to get it trimmed and to, you know, keep the style there while it's growing out, the hairdresser has just gone in and cut way too much off. And obviously hairdressers can't read your mind. They're gonna, you know, go off their interpretation of what you said, or sometimes people aren't firm enough when they're trying to communicate their idea. But still, it just can be such an emotional experience. And while it's not so much about ruining my hair, because no one has ever ruined my hair, I know for some people they have had bad hairdresser experiences where someone has ruined their hair, but for me it hasn't been that. It's more that they have set me back. I think that's probably the key thing that makes me sometimes emotional during these hairdresser appointments or coming out after, is that they've set me back from my goal. The goal that I've had to be patiently waiting for, that all I can really do is wait and just take care of my hair as normal. All I can do is wait. And so it's so frustrating when they take me back weeks or months of work by not cutting my hair exactly how I wanted it. And I think that's, yeah, I think that's the core of it. And one solution is to go through multiple different hairdressers until you find the perfect one who gets exactly what you're trying to get at, who cuts your hair exactly how you want it. But I don't really have time to go through multiple hairdressers, because with each hairdresser that you try, you're risking the fact that they might cut your hair way too short, or they might not understand exactly what you want. And also, hairdressers are expensive, and maybe what I need to do is go to a particular hairdresser who, you know, costs a lot of money to get my hair cut exactly how I want it. But that's really hard to justify when you want a really simple haircut. I find that very hard when all I want them to do is just trim the back and make it straight. That's all I want. But somehow they end up cutting my hair way too short still, or changing the style of it. Maybe because they want me to feel like I've really gone through some kind of transformative experience, or get, I don't know, bang for my buck, like really make sure that I get value out of that experience. But I really just want a very simple haircut. I just don't really care for the hairdressing environment either. I don't really care for the small talk and having to make the appointment and turn up and be there for a couple of hours or whatever. Obviously, if you're getting your hair colored, you're going to be there for a couple of hours. Hopefully not if you're just getting a haircut. But the point is, if I can do it myself, I'd rather do it myself. When I had long hair, I used to do that. Short hair, I can't do that. So maybe I'll just have to, you know, convince my mother or my sister to just learn how to cut my hair and just do it. Because yeah, I was just sad to have that negative hairdressing experience. Even though it was okay, it just wasn't what I wanted. She just set me back a couple of weeks. Potentially a month, and that was just really disappointing. I guess hair is just hair sometimes, except sometimes it's not just hair. Like that video that I made last year, you can click the link that I'll put somewhere on the screen if you want to watch that video. But yeah, I don't know. Sometimes going to the hairdressers can be emotional. So thank you for watching my video. Please leave a comment down below if you've had a similar experience with a hairdresser while you've been trying to grow out your hair, and I'll see you in the next video. Okay, bye. So I wanted to make another post-chemo update video, mostly because I've been just feeling really down, and I think a lot of it has to do with chemo brain, especially at work.